I'm Nana Farika. The time has come for the lioness to tell her story from her viewpoint and tell the world who Queen Omega is. This is the lion's voice.
Well, lion voice, tell them that's the people first choice. Lion voice, make the lioness them feel nice. Lion voice, for the lion cubs we sacrifice. Lion voice, got to show the people them the life. Lion voice. Poor man working for the rich man. Rich man don't care about the poor. But look along the rich man own the poor man land. The poor say him can't take it no more. But look along the poor man working for the rich man. Rich man don't care about the poor. But look along the rich man own the poor man land. The poor say him can't take it no more. One day he started chanting, give me some land. Want get some land. Wanna build my own house, be my own man then. Give me some land. Want get some land. I wanna raise some little baby with a pretty black woman. Dirty Babylon. Them want to stop the movement. Stop the family, them bring down unemployment. Them want the black woman become a single parent. No daddy can about if Babylon not pay your rent. Without the Vatican servants start the enslavement. Buckingham get rich off of the slave shipment. Uncle Sam no want no reparation argument. Them just provide opportunities for prison sentence. Who profits from a whole community's imprisonment? This a big man up at top account him dollars and cents.
What do you have to tell the people about Ras Tafari?
Light to the world. The king of kings and the conquering lion of the tribe of Judah. And left himself. Where's my ruler? Hey yo! Yeah. Hail them high, hail the black king on the 23rd of July. So tell them guy who praise God up in the sky, it's a lie. The Almighty living on your night. From ancient time them a try. Them Romans know them just opening them suit and ties. Criminals ain't got no alibi, they stole my people. Then them comes without them genocide.
Are you talking about slavery?
Them couldn't kill the lion we come conquer Judah tribe. Go through tribulation, and I strive, see sufferation, and I still rise. That's why we tell them in America, live Rastafari in every ghetto area. We come to tell them in a Toronto, straight at it. Greetings in that divine name of His Imperial Majesty, Emperor Haile Selassie I. Glory and honor in the name of his chosen queen, Empress Waziri Menen. My name is Kwasi Bansu, aka the Chasmach Kwasi, aka Ras Kwasi, aka the Reading Ras, aka the Pan-African Happy Man. I'm a creative industry attorney, I'm an artist, I'm an author, I'm an actionist. And right now, I am the host of the Lion's Voice. Welcome to the Lion Voice Network and welcome to Lion Talk Live, the show where we bring frontline workers in the vineyard of Rastafari to tell their own story. We are creating a repository of knowledge on the second largest streaming search engine on the World Wide Web, which is YouTube. We are preparing so that we have knowledge for those who are seeking knowledge, and they can hear from the lion and the lioness's own mouth. They can tell their own story. So that's what we're doing here. Before we introduce our very special guest this evening, I want to just big up Ramia King Design. The tumbler, I take it everywhere with my coffee, tea. It keeps it warm. And big up Ramia King Design, one of our sponsors. Big up CMOS Life, one of our sponsors. Big up the Lion Pride. I know what you're asking for people watching live. What is the Lion Pride? If you subscribe, you are part of the Lion Pride. And I want to big up the Lion Pride, and I want to big up the Lion Pride on Patreon. Our Patreon has grown. We were at 5 for some time. We went down to 2, came back. We are now at 8 strong. 8 fire angels standing with I to support the Lion Voice. 5, 10, $25, pounds, whatever people can afford, they are investing in the platform. So I want to just take time before we get into the topic to big up the Lion Pride on Patreon. 8 strong. Big up yourself. If you're not subscribed to the platform, subscribe. We have a big announcement this Saturday. We put it up on the Patreon, so our Patreon members already know what it is, but we're going to have a major announcement on Saturday. Big surprise, the Lion Voice. We're going to be on the move, out in the field, keeping it real, whatever you want to say. So that's coming up. A lot of things happening, family. World War III in full swing. The Gaza Strip. We see a global genocide, you know what I mean? A fight, clash of civilizations happening right now in the Middle East. We see a lot happening, but we still have to stay focused, family. We can't do anything about that out there right now, to be honest. But what we can do is become the best versions of ourselves. What we can do is really build the Rastafari family, our families, because the families is what are raising the children, which are going to be the ones that take this to the next generation. So on this channel, on this platform, you can notice we're doing a lot of topics on relationships, on families. These are things traditionally Rastafari we haven't spoken about, because we usually love to talk about the history. We talk about His Majesty. We talk about music, reggae, this and that. However, we are, in the business on this channel about the building of Zion, and to build this alternative to Babylon, which is necessary. We're going to have to have stable families. We can't bring this generational trauma down through the ages. Every Rastafari brethren and sister, every Pan-African brethren and sister supposed to make a stand and say that I am going to break this generational curse. The Lion of Judah shall break every chain. These generational curses are the chains, family. So tonight, we're going to get deep into the Rastafari family. I guess I've known for, I think, almost 2 decades now. She is someone who is no stranger to leadership within the Rastafari family. She's someone who is a pioneer when the book is written about these perilous Iwas. Her name will have to mention in that number. Coming out of the Nyabinghi house, I admire this sister because it was one of the few families that I saw as a young Ras trading within the order of the Nyabinghi. It was very few family with mother, father, child. She came out of one of the most prominent, I would say the most prominent Nyabinghi royalty, let's say that, as a princess, and now blossom into the queen. Before we started, she just reminded I that she's a grandmother now. I've known her so long, it's just a joy if you even know, say, she's a grandmother. Trading out of Jamaica, now working in the healthcare field. One of the pioneers of the Ralak Rastafari Ancient Living and Culture Festival, one of the greatest Rastafari festivals I've ever attended. I performed at that festival as well. Part of the founding of the North Carolina Rastafari Union, part of the founding of the Rastafari Youth Initiative Council, which is something we haven't talked a lot about, but we're going to talk about that, the youth movement in Jamaica, what happened to that, all these things. She is also, as I said, a mother, a beautiful chanter of the Nyabinghi, Iowa, uh, just a genuine, beautiful soul here in the earth. It's a great pleasure. I'm bringing family, stay at our house, our Kingman come stay at time and gates, you know what I mean? So we are talk some family vibration. Our father, was one of our man teachers. Who am I talking about, family? I'm talking about Queen Iffiya. Queen Iffiya. Do I have to unmute myself? I'm not able. Greeting.
Yes, I.
How is everything with the
Blessed
eyes?
love, give thanks and praises. I'm giving
Yes,
thanks, giving thanks to the glory and majesty of Ionai's Ivine, Haile Selassie the First, and Ionai's Most Royal Highness Empress Menen Asfa, who have really maintained Ionai's irits in this time of peril, We give thanks.
yes. And I give thanks. And for those who are not familiar, I tried my best. I leave a lot of things out of the intro. People might think the intro long, but I leave out a whole heap of things, whole heap of works. For those who are not familiar with the eye, just introduce the eye self, where the eye born, which parish, and then just paint a picture of what it was like for the eye, growing up, second generation Rastafari. Please just set the table.
That's a big one. Give thanks. Yes, it's always a joy. And as I mentioned, Bingi Ari, I remember how Bingi spoke about the eyes when he first touched base with the eyes there in Washington, D.C., the eye and others. And it was always that iris that Bingi bring come. And so I heard Professor Miguel Lon on a platform recently, he and the Bridget Stoneman, and they were recounting some of their experiences with Bingay, but they say he always brings a sense of joy, that smile that he brings, even though it was so
Yes,
very, very serious. So we give thanks, the Judgment Quasi. I kind of
yes,
feel like I and I have grown together, and
yes,
I and I have grown in different spaces. And I'm very proud of there as well, the Judgment Quasi, knowing from whence I know where they came from and how they exercise education. And that is a platform from which Their Majesty emphasized for I to grow and in order for I to develop a sense of lawfulness and a sense of recognition of each one's journey. And I speak as well. But
yeah,
yes, they did a good introduction. Um, they right to say Queen Iffiya, treading out of the princess-ship and treading into the queenship. We recognize it because I felt I were here before, and I trod out of royalty, even though a lot of I are not recognizing it now. And I think that for myself personally, I can give an account. That is what have held me grounded in all the challenges, the ups and downs, and the joys as well that I and I have encountered as Rastafari. And yeah, born and bred in Kingston. I was born in Kingston.
okay,
Um, we stayed there for a little bit, but my father sighting up the Rastafari trad, he was very dynamic in Kingston, in West Kingston. Grew up into the space where they have the political, parties and probably rivalries and so on. But it was
okay,
amazing how he was able to trudge through the different sides. He was able to trudge uptown and downtown, across over the GLP and the PNP and the Labour Right and the Socialists as a Rasta man. And from that time, I really felt the element of the trueness of Rastafari because I saw that it was boundless and it didn't
mm,
have no partisan attachment to it. And it was the truth of I and I as a people, black people, and for me, particularly Rastafari. So I was growing up in Rastafari, born and came and saw my mother and father treading Rastafari. Um, I grew up with 7 girls. And then later
Wow.
on, when we became adult, my father brought a son. And we welcomed him into the home, and he himself become the Chad of Rastafari as well. I want to big him up as well, you know.
Okay.
And so, and I moved out of, my parents saw that Rastafari was so high, and the Kingston, West Kingston kind of, we call it city life, wasn't facilitating the trueness and the naturality of the Rastafari
What was
livity,
the
knowing
community
that
in
it was
West Kingston?
agriculture that really.
Stick a pin. What was the community in West
Um,
Kingston? The name?
It was, we were living in Matches Lane in
Matches Lane.
a place named,
Okay.
it's between it's bordering Beeston Street, Charles Street, which is where public hospital is at. That's
Yes.
where Ras Martimore Planner was at when the Majestic came, and Bingay was one of the one who, because were able to see the public hospital from our house, from where we were
Okay.
living. We could walk
Wow.
up there. And so
Yes.
that's where he was in 1966 when the Majesty came to Jamaica. Yes. And
And I want
so
to
you have
emphasize that. I want to
Charles
emphasize
Street,
that.
Eastern
Go
Street.
ahead, sir. There's a slight
Yes,
delay, so I
yes, yes.
apologize. Go ahead.
And yes, yes. So, but in West Kingston was so amazing too, you know, the time that we spent there, because Bingari was a very unique person. Mama Yanzi the rallying point, as a strengthening point for him. And even though probably at some point, because of the patriarchal space and state of mind, probably he didn't recognize it at the time, but Mama Yanzi was the one. But Bingi Irie from a long Iowa, he taught us certain principle within Rastafari. Keep the place clean. You always have that little place that we lived in West Kingston clean, and he always have a fire burning, and him always have the bread in them coming, and it always a nice ital food, always clean, fire burning, nice ital food, and reading the Bible and those kind of things from West Kingston. I can remember as a little youth, you know. So they call us, you know, we live around people where them say a ballad people, it wasn't Rastafari. And my family, my father, yes, my father didn't get to grow up around his biological parents because him took on Rastafari from an early age, you know. So they had stopped supporting him. So we weren't able to really link in with our biological grandparents,
Okay,
which was
sorry.
a very, you know, sad experience. Yes. But as I grow, I understand where it's coming from, and you know, kind of reckon with it and not to make it trouble us too much emotionally. But we moved from Kingston and moved into St. Catherine, where Mama Yanzi and Bingi Irie purchased a piece of property there. And it was from there, the both of them hard work and saving them little money and this and that. And they got that piece of property. Actually, it was Mama Fire's sister, Kingman, who used to come from the country and do
Okay.
business in Kingston, met Bingi area and introduced him to St. Catherine. So Mama Fire sister and her family live next door to us in St. Catherine.
Catherine. Okay. So
And
how
so we
old
moved into St.
was the eye?
Catherine, and that's where I had an experience of.
How old was
I
the
was
eye?
about I was very old, but I was about 5 years old or so, 6 years old
Okay,
when
okay.
we moved
When
into
you move.
St. Catherine.
I want to
Yes. And
emphasize.
I had the first Nyabinghi there in St. Catherine, that Bingi Irie was so engulfed into the Rastafari that he grew up in the Catholic Church to an extent. So you know that there's a process of sanctification and rites of passage, or you know, of that nature, and he approached it from that Rastafari inspired perspective. And so the Nyabinghi was the consecration of the land that he purchased there in St. Catherine in 1975.
Wow. Beautiful.
So some of the first Nyabingis in Jamaica was held in St. Catherine and other places. I remember
Okay.
Aisha Wawa, that is the first
Stick a pin. I'm not hearing the eye. Stick a pin, and it's so important. Family, we have 14 of I and I on the line. Make sure you like, you share. If you're not subscribed to the platform, make sure you subscribe to the platform. I want the I to repeat the I self because the technology, the signal wasn't so strong. And I want to just emphasize that the I was coming out of one of the most notorious communities in Kingston. Because when people see the I and they hear the I, they would think you were raised in a mansion because of your royal dignity. But I want people to understand how in Jamaica, when the Rastafari brethren and sisters were in the inner city, how they were keeping their premises clean, royal, ital, so the people, this is how Rastafari gained the respect and the love of the people because they could see these were really royal sons and daughters, although they didn't have economic strength. So I repeat the I self, Queen Iffiya, because the technology it cut out, so we weren't able to hear the I. You were talking about some of the first Nyabingis in Jamaica being held on the land that Bingi Irie and Mama Yanzi bought in St. Catherine, and a brethren in the comments asked, "Who is this Empress father?" Lion Pride. Who is this Empress's father? And he was Ras Irie Lion, who is one of the foundation elders of the Nyabinghi House. And Mama Yanzi is our mother, who is one of the foundation queens in the Nyabinghi House. So royal bloodline tonight, we're gone in the royalness of the Nyabinghi Order. So just start again from the the land, the purchase of the land, and the first bingy, because we didn't hear. 17 of I and I, we're building energy. Go ahead. Unmute, unmute, unmute. That is what happened. Okay, unmute your line there.
Lord, I didn't even realize that I have to learn to use the technology.
Yes, 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 yes. So start
Yes,
again from Saint
no,
Catherine,
but
from the purchase
it's
of the
interesting
land.
that they are mentioned. No, I was just trying to make a quick comment on what they mentioned about being into that notorious area in West Kingston. It was true because I remember seeing the Claudia Massop and the people from over Tivoli Garden, because I was born at Tivoli Garden Hospital, and I was and my some of my sisters were born at Jubilee. So you see that it's two side. I remember getting up and hearing gunshot out there too. And I remember Bingier was able to communicate to the man them from over the side and the man them from over the side. Them did have a certain amount of respect for Bingier and others, but yeah, I thought that was very dynamic. So that was one of the reasons too that he had to take us out of West Kingston and take us to the country, because it was getting very violent and hostile, and a lot of stuff was going on. A lot of people were being killed and this and that and all kind of things. There I know of the history of those communities and the demise of many ones inside of there. He was what he used to keep him sanity was he was always very athletic and very engaged in sports. He loves football, and he was a coach at one point for our inner city youth club football team. I remember seeing him with his trophy that he won, and at a young age too. Anyway, so we move over to St. Catherine, and I had the first Nyabinghi there consecrating the land. And as I was saying, that Aishiwawa was reminded when she came to Bingi Irie's rites of passage in 2020 that she was in her mother's belly, and Mama Ivan went down the lane beside the house to go look at the land, because it was three Rastafari family living there at the time. A brethren by the name of Puka, and his wife was Jennifer Lawrence. She was an artist too, and they have their children, Rastafari children. And you had Mama Fire, sister Mama Nora, and Ayentan over on one side, and I over. And so it was like 3 families. So it was I who hosted the Nyabinghi in St. Catherine, in consecrating that piece of property that Bingi Ari and Mama Yanzi bought, and build a nice wood house there, because in Bingi Ari's Iris, it wasn't building no concrete house, because it was all about back to Africa. And so everything that he built, he built it in the intention of temporary living space, that I and I are preparing I and I's mind to return home. And that was a serious thing in my family. And Bingari instilled, Mama Yanzi and Bingari instilled all of that in I and I, the dynamics of agriculture informally, but is what I'm seeing playing out today in most cases, the italivity and so on. But the Nyabinghi principle was what Bingi Ari and Mama Yanzi emphasized in the home, the italivity, and it was all girls. So, he taught us how to do everything, to chop the wood, because our kitchen was outside. No, the kitchen was inside, but the bathroom was outside. But when we went to the country, the people in the country, most of them had pit, what we call a pit toilet, outside toilet. But Bingi Irie was used to his flush toilet in Kingston. So even though the toilet was outside, and he made sure that he had a male section and a female section. Him don't play when it come on to that. So we had flush toilet and we had a shower outside. And he taught us how to use the axe to cut wood, because most of the time a firewood we had to use, and we use that outside. When we were using the fire coal, we would use it on the inside kitchen, because the kitchen was inside. We had a stove. We had a stove. We had a stove that used kerosene, and there was a thing that you put in there that is called a spirit, and it's purple. Did I ever experience that, the Judgment Quasi, as a Jamaican?
No, I grew up most of my life in Toronto. Was what we had. Yeah, I grew up most of my life in Toronto.
Okay, I see.
But my parents are from Trelawney and from Clarendon, so they would have, experienced that type of life, So I'm the product of country people.
Yes.
But talk about, because there's a reasoning around communal living. So you were living communally with other Rastafari families, and we're gonna get to the topic, which is Rastafari family friendly. But talk about what that was like. What was that like, living with other Rastafari families? So many girls, Rastafari people just around your community. What was that like?
Well, when we first moved into the community, it's called Augustone. A lot of people don't know the Augustone in St. Catherine. They think that is only Sizzler alone have an Augustone, but there's an Augustone in St. Catherine, in Bogwalk and the adjacent area. And so when we moved there, the people thought we were very strange, because a lot of Kumina, the expression of our Africanness was being expressed through Kumina and Pokomini and those kind of things. But when the Nyabinghi came, the people claim say it's called Augustone, because they claim say every August the duppy them come out in the community, so the people want to go to them bed early. I didn't know how that worked, but it was a big thing in the community. They said that is how the community got the name Augustone, that every August most of the dead people them come out. And so they had to go into their homes very early. Wow. But they said when the Nyabinghi came there in 1975, whatever was going on, they said that stopped. That stopped. And the people who consider themselves to have been the science women, yes, the science women and the science men, they said that how the Nyabinghi come and knock out things, and they weren't able to perform certain things anymore. But I feel like it could be something like that. It was a
Yes.
mindset thing, because
Yes.
I felt safer as children to go there. So we come to the country where the W them there. We were so afraid at one point. But guess what? You see, the Nyabinghi drum, for me personally, it was a real security for me. I felt so safe when my father would go on the drums, and he would go on it like going up into midnight and into the morning time. Bingi Irie was a scientist when it comes to the Nyabinghi drums. So you would do that, and sometime Ayenton, that is Mama Fire Sisters Kingman at the time, he too would go on the drums. So the brethren down behind us, who was living with his family, Puka, Ayukai, and Ayentan, all of them would come together from time to time, and the drums was the protection for the family there. And the people were really thinking that we were just crazy people, we were mad people. They couldn't ever stand that, because they have never seen that in their entire life. But they have grown to show a large amount of respect for I, because they saw again, as the topic state, that I and I were loving people, and I was creative people, and I was progressive people, and I were cultural people, and I were wise people. And so they have grown. They didn't have any choice but to appreciate it. There were those who didn't want to, but they didn't know how to share love. But the majority knew how to gravitate to I and I, because of what I and I brought there. And I brought a light of Rastafari in the community, that they didn't want to leave I and I out of anything that was happening in community-based activities, community-based organizing, community-based initiative. They always come and they wanted my mother to get involved. They wanted I and I to get involved. That is how I and I learned more about community initiative and activism from a formal perspective, linking up with SDC, etc., etc. That is the Social Development Commission there, that responsible for some of these social programs that we have available across the
Okay.
island. So yes, so it was beautiful. And then I looked forward in going to the Nyabinghi Isis, because that's where I found solace. Because even though in our community people were welcoming us, the general populace of Jamaica did not welcome I's African expression of the colonial concept under which the Jamaican society is ruled and run under. So when I would go to the Nyabinghi, and I would be preparing. It's like an holiday always. Sometimes we weren't able to go because of the economical situation of our parents. But whatever the situation is, once the occasion comes about, the birth day of Their Majesty Haile Selassie the First, the coronation, the visit of His Imperial Majesty, those are some major dates that I and I pay close attention to. And I would make sure that the yard and everything is cleaned up, or we try to cover everything, even if we weren't able to go to the ISIS. But it was I and I's holiday. But when I and I were able to go to the ISIS, it was one of the best holidays for I and I ever. Nothing
Yes.
like going to the Nyabinghi Isis, because we would be able to see other Rastafari family who share the same values and attitude as I and I as Rastafari, because it was really a challenge living in the society, living in the country, it wasn't as challenging in Kingston as it was in the country, because the people in the country just did not understand that part of our African expression.
Expression. So were there a lot of families on the Bingy ground in those days, in those early days? Were there a lot of children, a lot of, or were them the only?
So much.
Okay.
No, lots and lots and lots and lots of family. We look forward, Mama Fire children, one heap of them, even though so much, she had our challenge with so much of them. Even Ras Miguel Lawn children, um, Bongo Joe, Bongo Manny, Ras Iva, Mama Ivy, um, um, Bongo Eddie, that and daughter Tutsi, who is in England now, and Bongo Eddie transitioned. Um, Bongo Devon, many family, even sister Yvonne Gale,
Yes.
Escale Selassie, her children used to,
Yes.
even though they weren't living on the ground at the time, they would come. Some we were so happy. Um, many families, countless. When you look at the Bingi ground, the amount of children were able to do Nyabinghi Youth Council, were able to do a Amharic class there. There were families, sisters who were mothers who were calling up the children, and we had a large amount of family in the Nyabinghi. Sometimes we
Wow.
couldn't even find place to put our tents.
Wow.
And Mama Yvonne Hope, that is Aisha Wow and Aishama's Mutabaruka's first wife,
Yes.
she recount, and we were just laughing about it. And she reminds my mother sometimes, and we just laugh about it because it seems so funny today that when we were going to the ISIS, it was so much. Mama Yanzi had all of us was seemingly on the same size, same height. It's like we were the same age. All of us born one time, and she had to we had to bring the sponge with pot with pan and everything go to the bingy, because once we're going to the ISIS, we have to stay the whole time. We now come home until
Yes.
when
Yes.
ISIS is 7 day,
Done.
3 day, whatever time, 5 days. And the bus, the public transportation don't want to pick us up. And Mama Ivan remembered that she was in our community and there was a Rastafari family going to an ISIS, and the people in the community walking behind the people and knocking some pan and telling them so they must come out of the community because they are mad people. They had their children, sensibly intelligent people, and they were telling the people that they were mad people and they were to come out the community. The bus driver, they would just leave Mama Yancy with all of us right on the roadside. They would not pick us up until probably you might find a conscionable driver who comes along and would take
Yes.
us to our destination. So it was very challenging.
But
And Bingy
people don't
Irie,
know that side. People don't know that side of the chart, So I'm so glad that
no,
you're sharing.
no. Real thing, real thing. I tell him there, I the strength of highly Selassie the first. That is an innate irids that trod within I and I, where I and I still a try this, I try there, and feel so joyful that I and I really decide say we are try the journey, cause there's for me personally, there's no other way, and I would do it over again because I'm wiser now and I would know how better to navigate some of the people that I had encountered. Yeah,
Yes, yes.
it's true, man. We went through a lot of hardship, and when we were enrolled into school, into the country, Lord, I tell you, the people them did not. They were like, "Oh, where them people here come from? Where them come from with them thing here and them hats on them?" Because we could not go out of our homes without our locks covered. We have to make sure. So Mama Yanzi would make the tam. She would crochet the tams, and we would wear the tams according to the color and the requirement of the school color. The socks and tam are with the same color. And when we would go to school, almost every day my older sister had to fight.
Wow.
Almost every day, because the people, and she was a well built, like Mama Yanzi, a strong, beautiful, well structured young girl. And she would fight, and
Wow.
we ever go to her and complain that the youth them would pull off our tams and throw it on the ground and say that we have centipedes, farty leg in our ear, or we have lice. We never experienced those things. The only time that I have ever seen lice in our home was when them lock up Bingi area and the whole of the Rasta man them from up our Nyabinghi in Guy's and tie
Okay.
them up and lock up the man them for no reason at all. Because them a chant Isis and the Bingi go and them hit them up and kick
Hmm.
over the pot of nice family pot a sip they were making and stuff, and them the police them come and them destroy a lot of stuff and them carry. So when Bingi come back from the jail now, well tired and hungry and pop down, when Mama Yanzi checking him locks and him had Bingi area that nice Congo nuts broad and connect to everything and come all the way down in his back. And when Mama Yanzi check Bingi iron nuts, Bingi iron pick up lice. That I first time ever saw lice. That time the people must say we have lice from a long time and she got rid of it. We never get caught up with no lice. But every day we went to school, that was a problem. I remember my sister
Wow.
getting suspension because she had to fight the principal son.
Where
And
is the
when
I older sister now? Where is the I older sister now?
my sister, she's in the parish of Saint Mary. Saint
Okay.
Mary. So she
Okay.
traveled back and forth, but she's living in Saint Mary with her
Give
family.
thanks. Give thanks. I don't think
Mm-hmm.
I've met that sister. But one of the things I
Probably
admire,
not yet.
yeah, one of the things I admire about Bingi Irie was all of his daughters very well attired. How was he able to keep these swarms of young men that were most likely, giving you that attention? And, all of the daughters, they're just royal. And, it was a thing that one's admired because you didn't see that a
Yes,
lot
yes.
within the Ayabingi. So how was he able to
Right,
manage,
right.
and Mama Yanzi, how were they able to manage that part?
I don't know what science I use, but I know that I know that Bingyar was a roaring lion. So a lot of people, because I heard the counselor for the community, I didn't even know that he knew us like that, but he gave a tribute to Bingi Ari in 2020, and him say how him did really love Bingi Ari children, girls them, but him couldn't venture for even go near us because him know say Bingi Ari was a roaring lion. And though he was afraid of Bingi because him knows a Bingi burn a lot of fire. And him knows a Bingi chant the Nyabinghi drum and him hear all the people him talk about how the Nyabinghi drum hit them up so bad, so much that them didn't know what to do with themselves. So he didn't want any of those science to come on him, and he didn't know if he was gonna chop him up with a machete because and he gave that this man who was like, really? I didn't even know you that time. So there
You
was
see,
a
you
lot of
see?
ones around the place who I know that really liked us. I know that there was a young man who didn't have locks, and him was really in love. He was really in love. And in my mind, I said to myself, say, I don't think they will ever stand our locks. Just knowing that I have that matty Congo nuts on my head, and for them to go, I wouldn't want them to come and to go, make or give myself to them as a part of my soul, and then
Yes.
them go, yes, with my locks, because I thought my locks was wholesome, and I thought it was a consecrated space that needed to be reckoned with all of me, and those who weren't able to do that, I didn't want to give myself.
Yes.
So, but there were a lot of young men who was in love with us, but they didn't know. It's interesting too, the Jazz Match Kwasi, that in 2015, the North Carolina was one of the ones who received an award from Dark when they were having the Ethiophile um, award banquet ceremony. So in
Mm-hmm.
2015, I went and received the award on behalf of the North Carolina Ras Tafari Union. And I stayed with my sister Aileti in New York. And when she came to the airport to pick me up, the person who was driving the vehicle that came was a young man who went to primary school with us in Jamaica. That boy was a trouble. The boy give it trouble, him give it trouble, so till we didn't know what to do. You know that there was a family who lived around up in Angel Lights around the Bagua Gorge, where they had the Golden Jubilee in 1980, right up there. Bongo King and Mama Blossom. She carries a different name now. I don't quite remember, but she had some beautiful children. The girls were lovely. And so they were homeschooled in the initial stages, and then they joined us in school. So we had all these Rastafari people there. They just didn't know how to deal with us. But at the same time, we were so beautiful and so loving and so regal. They thought about how to approach us. But
Yes.
this one, him know, with the mischievous self, allowed him mischievous friend to influence him to go open him, and because the guys were troubling him and say, you like it dirty head rasta, you like it dirty head rasta gal. That's how they were talking about us. And I pitied them. I said, boy, I wish these young men would know that I and I are royal people, and they too are, but they didn't know because of their upbringing and because of the systematic infiltration of the teaching and their brain and their mind and the school system. So the young man proving to them that him didn't like her, which he did, open him and give the girl Aisa one box in her face.
Wow.
One box in her face. Hurt her.
Wow.
And she stood up there and like she took out a sword of science on him. She did not say a word to him. She just hold her face where he boxed her. It was so hurtful. But interestingly, I saw that it was him in his adult life. And you know what the man said to me?
What do you say?
Me say, really? Is this you? I couldn't believe it was him driving the vehicle that I was in. Him say he would do anything to find her and apologize to her because it haunt him. Him never know him was gonna see me. And him said haunt him all his life. And I found Mama Blossom, the mother, number. And I told her what he said, and I told her that he said he would like to apologize to Aisa for what he did. I don't know if I have not spoken to him again since that time, since 2015. And I don't know if he actually got a chance to say anything to her or the mother, but she did took the number and said that she was gonna communicate with him about it. So these are some of the things, the regrettable things that our family members in the black family had perpetuated because of systematic oppression and miseducation of
This
our culture
education.
and our traditions.
Very, very serious. Give thanks, Empress Jeannie. I want big up Empress Jeannie. She has just recently joined the Lion Pride on Patreon. She was the first queen that we had on Lion Love, our new program. She says, greetings and blessing family. Give thanks to the Lion Network for another blessed reasoning. Greeting Queen and give thanks for sharing the I story, especially for us Empress. Blessed love, So ones are here. A young lion that I know very well, Aya Gift, is here in the place. Aya Gift says, "It's up, I love it. Bliss up, Mama Iffiya." And we're gonna have Aya Gift.
Yes.
I'm going to Jamaica, so oops, I shouldn't have said that. But we're gonna connect with. We're gonna
Yes,
connect.
yes, yes.
All prayers to the Most High, says Model Car 1589. Ras Tafari. Big up yourself. A regular here on the Lion Voice Network. Empress Jeannie said this is exactly how we need to proceed forward this day. I think that was when we were talking about the communal living. Empress Jeannie said, enough of we don't have discipline and righteousness. Now, sure, Very important, Empress Genie. What the eye is saying is crucial. Um, Sherry Valentine, big up yourself, says royal indeed. Big up yourself. Brandon Mitchell, big up yourself, Brandon. Give thanks for this platform. We're just getting started, Brandon. Don't worry. You see me start bring my family them forward. So we give thanks. Rothschild says no R. It's cause they don't come up to Dada King Emmanuel a Jesus Christos Bobo Shanti. It's going to be very, very dread. And Rothschild is a regular to him, just drop judgment and move, keep it moving. So big up yourself, Rothschild. Trust and emojis,
Well,
Rothschild.
that's how it is. Yeah, the judgment of a child.
Yeah, man, love and fire. Only the mystical, only the magical mysticals will make it. Yeah, man, a real thing you talk, Rothschild. Trust and so forth, Rothschild. You leave whole heap of message and we give thanks for the eye. Sounds them. Lion Pride said this is one of the best platforms going on right now. Brethren, I have to say you're bringing us some powerful gems. Trust me, we need an appropriate this along the trod. Give thanks for the eye support Lion Pride and feel free. Join us in the Lion Pride. You love it, $5 a month, $10 a month, so we can get some better equipment, better camera, travel. Because I really want to do a lot of interviews on the continent, because that is where we really headed. The eye them know. I bought land in Ghana. We're working with Habisha. We're gonna be going there next year. So we're just getting started. But Queen Iffiya, let us talk about the topic for the evening because you set the stage beautifully. It was like I was watching a movie, listening to the eye. It's so cinematic. You know what I mean? It's so cinematic, and I'm glad that people are hearing the persecution that children had to go through too, because we talk about what the elders went through, button lick, this, that, but they are really give us what the children in the schools being teased. Women are so, little girls are so sensitive. So I can imagine little girls being teased about big dirty head and the psychological trauma. And I always talk about the trauma, and I have a better
Yep.
understanding of what the eye is saying. So, that was that time though. In this modern era, the eye tried to Jamaica regular. You tried to different spaces. Are you still seeing that same family energy, that family vibration? And if not, what is happening right now? What are the eye thoughts about the state of the Rastafari family right now?
Well, I give thanks. I give thanks, as I said, for the upbringing, because it has taught me a lot and it has given me great strength and inspiration. I didn't say, but I'm a mother of 5 children and I am now a grandmother of 4. My youngest grandchild was born while I was there in Jamaica on the 27th of July. So I give thanks for my children. They are beautiful. They give me a lot of inspiration. Today, they and I can communicate like brother and sister, and I love that. They are building their family. My daughter Jamelia Makeda, she's a beautiful, she has grown into such a beautiful woman with her own family and executing Rastafari liberty, and I'm very proud of that. She works within corporate Jamaica. She didn't want to come to the United States to live. She comes to visit when time allow her. And my daughter, Somalia, who is in Texas, she has her family. She has one son who came on my Earth Day. So he and I is one. It's Bingy Iri that. And my son Malawi, who is here in Durham and holds a fort, a Rastafari, a young man, beautiful. I'm so delighted about these youth. No problem. It's like seamless. And my 2 younger ones, Isat, who is a senior in high school, and my son, Sila Tafari, who is 1 year old. also in high school. He's now in Panama with his dad, Rasila, finishing up high school there. Okay, you know how the school system here it's been intercepted, and especially since the COVID. So there's a lot of entanglement with different spirits that are going taking place there. And some of our nice children not able to deal with it because it's a very stressful environment. And so we had to preserve him by taking him out of the school system here, and he's now into a school system in Panama where I think he's more grounded and more into nature and is able to relate to what is happening there a little better. So we give thanks for that. But I think to a large extent, is the miseducation again of our people that somewhat have intercepted the family life within INI's community, and the lack of equal opportunities, the inequities that have been taking place across societies that have impacted INI's Rastafari family even more. Because yes, if once I reckon with Haile Selassie the First, and I is Ivan, Her Majesty, just looking within that embodiment of the philosophy and teaching of Haile Selassie, and I know that's a family-oriented space because Their Majesty refused from being crowned without seating up with the balance of his life. And that is how humanity is perpetuated, a family-orientedness, the man and the woman working as a team. There's no other way. And so Rastafari is built on that platform and that premise and that foundation. Haile Selassie the First. He has broke barriers and brought back glory and majesty and dignity and magnificent to our nice people, to humanity, and particularly Rastafari. So yes, it is a family friendly environment. As I said, there has been a lot of orchestrated interception. And so because Anna's family, as Anna have been blocking up, have been so traumatized, and I depend on the edge of survival and to mouth and not paying attention to how the system has continued to intercept and create destabilization within Anna's family. And so I, who sits within leadership, have to recognize this, not just from a physical perspective, but from a mental perspective, from an theoretical perspective, a psychological perspective, and to see how I will be able to navigate these traps, because the chance enemies of Ethiopia surround I. It says, so long Rastafari calling, so long time Rastafari I call. And when you look and see them at about organic and this and that, and about food and ital food and vegan food, I Rastafari been treading that tread from the get-go. In Jamaican society, them say we no eat salt and up here calorie we eat and we're weak and this and that and all kind of things. And when you're going to the doctor spaces and the healthcare spaces, that is what they're promoting. They are using the drums as a means of creating sanity within our space. In psychology, the music, the instruments, and the drum plays a very integral part within the communal living. And that is something that the system also made an attempt to ban and to take it away from I because they don't want I to be stable, because they know once African righteous people come together, the whole world will reckon with it. And these greedy people don't want that to happen. So Rastafari been calling, and the enemy surround I, because I speak through the Nyabinghi. We're not talking about no interception of the Nyabinghi. We're talking about the anciency of the Nyabinghi, from the womb, from the loin into the womb of perpetuity. That is the speaking of the Nyabinghi. And it replicates through the drums, the tree, the man, woman, and children, the bass drum, the kete drum, and the funde drum. and I illuminated through the Nyabinghi fire with the word sound of His Imperial Majesty Haile Selassie I, which embodies her and him. So long Rastafari calling, so long. So long Rastafari calling, so long.
Yes.
So long Rastafari calling, so long.
True
For
ones.
the enemies surround I, and they are trying to devour I. Yes, so long, Rastafari calling, so long. So it's the truth. And
Yes,
so,
I.
as I reckon with the importance of the identification, I and I have to be embedded within I and I self to have a standard in order for I and I to recognize that it is family friendly and family oriented. If I and I are working on the principle and the philosophy and the teaching of His and Her Imperial Majesty Haile Selassie I.
So you mentioned His Majesty and Empress Menen. Talk to us about what about His Majesty stood out to the eye, as a young Ras growing up, or when did you become aware? Because we know there's a culture, Rastafari. There's a culture, there's a levity, but not everyone within the levity really know the history or the fullness of His Imperial Majesty or Empress Menen, that you have to go seek that. You know what I mean? When did the eye for yourself as a conscious person start to really seek the word sound of His Majesty? And what about His Majesty and Empress Menen does the eye find illuminating, or some highlights? Because we have young Rasses in the comments, who are gonna watch this. Hundreds of people will see this video. And we wanna give them things that they can research and learn about His Majesty, that are things that make us who grew up in this levity, why we exalt this little small Ethiopian King of Kings, why we call him the Almighty, why so share some things about the Emperor and Empress Menen.
Yes. In my humble way, I remember I can remember from age 9. I remember Queen Masani saying age 9, and it's true. I can remember even from age 5, But there was a Ital one of the first Ital shopping, where they call Ital restaurant, Ital shop in Kingston, and it was Bingi Ira and the others who held that ground down. With them they eventually called King Ital. It was Prince, I know Prince and him brother them from when they were young and all of them. So when after Bingi with them moved to St. Catherine, he was still going forward. Him always go forward to Kingston. Him love him Kingstonian place, but him also was grounded in the hills, into the country. So I remember sometimes he wasn't able. He would come home on Saturday nights, or during the week or so, but he would spend days there. So Mama Yanzi would hold the grounds, and Bingai would be at the restaurant, which is where he would make his little consistent funds and so on to help with Mama Yanzi and to do whatever they needed to do. So I remember one of the strong, and he wasn't able to come home. So Mama Yanzi would prepare food, and prepare a change of clothes for him and all of those kind of things. Because Mama Yanzi love her husband, She love him very much. She protect that little troublemaker man, and one little troublemaker when him ready, But we love him, Bingy Iris, so much. So
you could
she
see that. You could see
and
that.
he was my friend. He was my good friend, Bingy Iris was my
and let us hold on.
Bingy
Let us hold on.
Yeah,
let
but
us big up Mama Yanzi. That quiet femininity that she exude, the royal dignity of Mama Yanzi. I'm going to try and get an interview with you, Mama Yanzi.
Yes.
If you're watching this, I have to talk to the eye, because I always admire. She says so
Mama
much with
Yanzi
so
is a
few
rock.
words.
Exactly. It's true, man. She have a science with her there, see? Anyway, um, she sent me to Kingston. I used to kind of timid to go by myself, but I learned. It. It really gave me a sense of dignity and responsibility to say yes, maturity. I'm taking the bus by myself from St. Catherine, go all the way to Kingston. So I Mama Yanzi gave me food and everything, and I'm on the bus on a Sunday morning going to Kingston to take things to this lion. And we already know the stigmatization of the Rastafari in Jamaica. So I was on the bus, and there was this elderly lady. So I said, probably if I sit beside her, she won't be one of those ones who would want to ridicule me because I'm a girl, and she looked like she's a mother, looked like she's a grandmother when she was going to church. And the lady pulled away. She pulled away from me. She pulled away because she probably said that I have 40 leg in my hair or whatever, because I had my head wrap on, because as I told her, I didn't go out without I's locks being covered, because Bingy Irie, Mama Yanzi emphasized that it's I's crown. But when I was
Yes.
coming forward now to St. Catherine, I don't know if they know about this culture in Jamaica, where the people used to come on the bus. Either them a beg money, or them a sell something, or them a preach or something. If it drop money in this
Yes.
something or whatever. So there was this Asian looking man, Jamaican Asian man, and he was in a white bush jacket, where they call it bush jacket thing.
Yes.
And he was really preaching and preaching. In my mind, I say, I hope you nobody come near me, because I can't bother with them right now, I don't want them come near me. Because I already know how the majority of them look at her as Rastafari. As a
Yes.
girl, just don't want to encounter them. Because I don't even know. Because at some point too, I thought about whether I wanted to continue the trend of Rastafari, because of the amount of stigmatization, the amount of challenges.
Wow.
So one at the
Yes.
time I thought in my mind, I don't want to be in Rastafari, but I couldn't say to my parents, worse my father, you're mad, you can't tell him that. Bingy, I know I hear that from none of us. He was very serious about the trad. We head wrap, and we close on a height of liberty. No ramp with Bingy when you come on to that. Oh, anyway, the man there preaching and carrying on. And him said, there is a return Messiah. There is a return Messiah. Him, Lord have mercy, I hope you know bother with me. And the man walk come right down to me and say, who you think is the return Messiah? Yeah, me to me said, me no answer him, me no want them go mob me on the bus. And the man there and the people are like this. Some of the people must say, Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ. And the man said, no, it's Haile Selassie. I was like, what? The man says Haile Selassie. In my heart, and he moved away from me. In my heart, I was so glad. I was so happy. I was like, really? He said that? I didn't expect him. And then he had light skin, because the majority of the light skinned people in Jamaica did not like Rastafari at all. Right? Because there was always a semblance of classism in in
Yes.
um in Jamaica. But just listening to Bongo Water was really an inspiration for me in terms of reckoning with the divinity of Haile Selassie the First,
Yes.
because when he, even though the Bible was the only thing that I and I had to validate the Rastafari live it to a large extent at the time, he
Hmm.
pointed it out. And for some reason, I was inspired to reckon with it, whether it was the Psalm 68, or whether it was the Psalm 87 that spoke about Ethiopia. And then Bingi Irie and Mama Yanzi was already instilling in us about Ethiopian history, and he was talking about the Solomonic dynasty and the Queen of Sheba, and come up to the 225th godhead that seated upon the throne of Ethiopia. Bingi Irie taught us how to speak Amharic from a very young age. We were able to count from 1 to 1,000 in Amharic. He wrote a play in Amharic that every banquet the Bingi was having, we're doing display. It was like, tired to do display. We don't want to display anymore. We're too boring. But we could have never said to Bingi Area, mad. Bingi Area just make a greater song. What's in the name? It's on dry cola nut. Busy them dry.
Busy,
Like a
busy.
rock. And Big Guy would
Yes,
make us greater them, sit down there and greater them. That's what a film we have punished it. But anyway, but Bongo Water was an inspiration, even though he and I didn't see eye to eye and I never get a chance to share it with him. But I love Bongo Water so much. Because him even look at my father with lighter skin than him and than my mother and say that my
yes.
father was too light skinned for him. But for
Okay.
some reason, I understood where he was coming from with it, you know. I know that his experience and him know that there has been some amalgamation or the colonial people had rape and ravish our people. And so, you know, all the different changes in our DNA and our dynamics. And I reckon with it from that time. So I didn't make it bother me too much because even my first child, Jamelia, who was light skinned, because our father was light skinned, lighter than I, and he talked about it. And I didn't get upset about it. I understand where he was coming from because
Yes.
to me, he held a sense of principle and a sense of groundedness that I looked forward to go to the Nyabinghi to hear him speak and to hear him go into prophecy and to interpret the prophecy at that time and how it was relevant to Haile Selassie. So it's within the Nyabinghi and hearing the prophecy and its connection and how it was being interpreted by Anais ancient, particularly my family, Bingi Irie, and also Bongo Wato. And
Okay.
another Aimplo was Ayatutu, Priest Ayatutu. Well, good friend of mine. He's still alive and not seen right at this moment, but he lives in Kingston.
Okay.
And so Haile Selassie has been, you know, been vibrating within my iris from a young age. And I remember seeing the vision with Haile Selassie standing afar. It was amazing. Many years ago, I saw him on the horse and he was in a suit. And, you know, when I was able to go to Ethiopia, long before a lot of ones went to Ethiopia, I was able to go to Ethiopia. It was 1993 in Ethiopia. It was 2000. It was the
Okay.
year 2000. And when I connecting all the prophecies, because I'm learning more now, and I was starting to learn a bit about Her Majesty because we didn't have any text at the time about it, Her Majesty. You hardly heard anything about Her Majesty, but at the same time, I felt that I had tried it before, and that I had a position of of authority seated beside I and I's brethren. And so, even though it was hurtful at times when I heard how our brethren expressed their understanding of the role that INI's female were to play and were playing, I was able to gain a semblance of balance within my iris because there seemed to have been an innate iris that was always present that kept me grounded, you know.
Okay.
So when I went to Ethiopia, and my experience there was magical, magical. I have not written about it yet, and I have not shared it collectively yet, but it was
Okay.
joy, joy. It's the chant that says all of those things was manifesting. Joy. Rastafari is a Isla band of angel to carry I and I home when I was in Ethiopia. And that I saw the moon in the night. It was big like the house. And when I saw the sun rise in the morning, it was like it was coming from the back of literally coming from the back of the end of the earth. And it was so big, and it seemed as though I could just walk over and touch it. And then when I saw the night and the day when I was in the flight, it was my first experience. and all of it, and then it rained, and I look at the earth, and it glittered like it was black gold. And I took some of the soil and brought forward with me. But then all of that consolidated my iris of the trueness and the divinity of Haile Selassie the First, because you're reading the prophecy and you're reading the history and you're connecting them bit by bit, and see how their majesty, wise man, was able to enable them to transform Ethiopia, and how he took on to himself the importance of education. Those were inspiration that reflect the concept of God. And so that is how I connect. Haile Selassie was always there, even when I didn't understand it and I wasn't able to explain it. Haile Selassie was always there.
So talk to us about this relationship with Empress Menen, and learning about her. There was a time we all thought she was born March 25th, and we find out said nothing like that, and April 3rd, and even though we're still finding out information about her, that she was married as a child, from the age of 9 years old, and the tribulation she went through, being, used as a political tool, and she ended up ending child marriage in Ethiopia, ending that practice. What were some of the things about Empress Menen when you were able, because you have to understand families. Queen Iffiya is very learned, very well studied on these matters. As you see, one of the sisters who has been to Africa. So she's speaking from a place of knowing. And so when we get sisters like that, not yet an elder, but, in, elder part of the adulthood, grandmother, we have to take the time to drink from the fountain of wisdom. We have to take the time to drink. So what were some of the things about Empress Menen, and then we're going to go forward to the family topic. If you have any questions, put them in the comment section so that we can make this interactive, because we love when it's interactive. You know what I mean? Hold on, let me just, before you touch the Empress Menen, let me just read out some comments here. Lion Pride says, which Bongo Eddie? Because I've been hearing that Bongo Eddie, aka Prince Emmanuel, passed away. That was a different Bongo Eddie. I think you were talking about the fireman from the Bingy House.
Yes.
Bongo, yes, in that time.
Yes, Bongo Eddie, that from the Nyabinghi ancient too. Yes, he passed away. He was from Geisel in St. Catherine. I don't know if he was from there, but that's where his Nyabinghi tabernacle were. Bongo Eddie and his family.
Very legendary fireman. She's saying someone else, I suppose. They will
indeed.
find down Christ, Rothschild. There was no Nyabinghi before the 1958 ceremony. Is that true? Was that the first Bingi with the one?
Well, I'm not able to speak on the accuracy of that 1958 before. But as I said, I was just reckoning with what I grew up in the Nyabinghi, and also reckoning from even the Uganda African tradition and African perspective that is a part of it, and that it is being used in the way in which it is being used today as a liberation part and a clearance of evil or negative elements in high and low places, using the drums as a tool to heal and to rid certain energies scientifically out of ionized space. That is how I see the Nyabinghi. So in terms of before the 1958 physical, I'm not sure.
Sure.
We
will find out. We're going to talk.
Of it.
Yeah, we're going to talk to some.
And I'm sure there are ones who I understand it from those days, but I know there was a groundation in 1958 in consolidating the ones who were representing I&I at the time.
Yes,
Give thanks.
Okay, so Rothschild said it was all one. It got controversial once Dada stepped in the scene. It seemed like the eye might be a Bobo Shanti, Bridging Rothschild. Give thanks, give thanks. Lion Pride said that's a
Yes,
champion
yes.
sound to hear the sister say if she had to do it all over again, she will. Empress Menenai, Rastafari. So you're inspiring the ones them, you know. It a go bit
I will do
controversial
it
now
again.
also because now the angels step into the scene now. So Rothschild is always casting love and judgment and sounds. Empress
It's
Genie,
good. It's good. It's good. He has to do that. That's
yes,
good.
yes. Empress Genie says true words sound power. Enough people give up. So true motivation to hear from our next sister. Give thanks for the inspiration as it is necessary to keep us, for us to keep trotting forward. So you see your testimony is giving strength. And Empress Genie is in California, and she's one of the few Rastafari in her region. She's in Humboldt County. So big up yourself, Empress Genie. The angel come in flesh, you know. Yes, Rothschild, I and I are fire angels. Okay, South America checking in, Sister Naomi. Big up yourself. Greetings and blessing, Mama Iffiya. Give thanks for sharing your powerful Rastafari journey. We big up. That's Chile, I believe, Sister Naomi, tuning
Bless
in
her. Bless
from.
her up. Bless her up.
Yep.
Bless her up. Give thanks.
Tebilan, Empress Sounds, greeting family, give thanks for
Chile.
sharing the life of Rastafari. Saint Croix, USVI sends love. Yes, I met the sister from a Kebilan Empress Sound. Big up yourself. There are serious sound system, sistering culture sound. So big up yourself. We're gonna have to interview the item on the platform too. We love it. I bet Nigos. That a Bongo Wisely son, I believe. Blessed love family. Give thanks for the works of exalting Rastafari culture. Give thanks, Mama Iffiya. 1983 conference has established the blueprint for the unification of Rastafari. Big up yourself, Ibed. Nigos. This is from Bongo
As I
Wisely.
read it, the Jasmine Kwazi, as I read it, so it just bring goose pimple from my iris, because I remember clearly 1983, the first time I was able to go into a space of that nature in Jamaica at the University of the West Indies. Rastafari took charge. 1983.
Yeah, man.
Unforgettable.
Sister Masani talk about it. That's Bongo Wisely. I think he's using his son's
Yes, yes,
device.
yes,
So big
yes,
up
yes.
yourself, Bongo Wisely. Always positive. S. Farelli. Love and respect Queen Iffiya, Bingi Ira, and Mama Yanzi. Isla full example of family. You know, so looks like that's someone who know the eye too. Sister Farelli, bless up yourself. Empress Genie, having elders around to teach the youth is the best to we progress as Rastafari as a community. So definitely serious. So big up everyone. If you have any questions for Queen Iffiya, please put them in the comment section. We're gonna get to a question answer portion. If you're not subscribed, 21 of us watching live right now. If you're not subscribed, make sure you subscribe to the platform. Press the like so we can boost the algorithm. Let YouTube know that Rastafari is here and we're growing. Over 2,040 of us in the Lion Pride. We're building this platform as a premier Rastafari platform. We're not going to stop. We're going to continue to bring the frontline warriors. I don't purposely bring any artists up here because this is not just an artist business. Rastafari have ones doing works from all the different corners of creation who never touch a stage. So the artists will come. We have some things planned that we will be bringing forward, but I want to make sure that ones know that frontline workers and work is happening at all times within Rastafari. So again, make sure you subscribe to the platform. We have a major announcement this Saturday coming for the platform, a major elevation The Patreon family, we've made it already. They know already. They are, privy to exclusive content on the Patreon. We drop all the announcements there first, but we're gonna do an announcement on Saturday. Okay, that's just the housekeeping, Mama. I feel we have to keep the lights on. Okay, talk to us
Yes.
about Empress Menen, please.
Well, for me personally, I always resonate with the coronation of the majesties, And to some extent, I always thought that there was something that was conflicting within I's community. Because in my little understanding, I was saying to myself that if Haile Selassie the Divine One came and sat with her and crowned with her, that means he's saying that it's a family space and that I and I have to reckon with each other, that I and I both plays a very important role within this journey here and the restoration of I and I's Africanness, I and I's Ethiopianness. And I always thought that sometimes the family member who didn't understand that it was a sense of ignorance, and sometimes it was a sense of arrogance, and that the lack of humility, because that is one of the things that is kicking us in our butts these days, the lack of humility, because I know it work. Because if it wasn't for my humility, even though I can be rough sometimes like a mad lady. The humility is so very important. Humility in recognizing that I and I have to coexist. The humility to know that I and I are Bobo Shanti and 12 tribe and those who are not a part of any house and mansion, but I and I are one people, and I and I are looking at the journey and the destination of I and I's Ethiopianness to the throne room of Haile Selassie the First. So the humility was one of the things that I saw that was lacking in reckoning with Her Majesty. As I grow and experience and encountered, I came into bits and pieces of text of her. And when I heard how him spoke about her, I thought that it was really divine. And encountering the Rastafari Woman Rise with Dr. Eleanor Wint. Did I know that documentary with the Rastafari Woman Rise? I don't know if I'm
Um,
pronouncing the title correctly, but it was
yes, I think
Dr.
yes.
Eleanor Wint who
I've
worked at
spoken
Tough
to
Gang
her.
at
We're
one
trying to
point.
get her. Yeah, we want to get her on this platform, so she will be on here
She's
definitely.
an amazing woman. She doesn't even know that she inspired a lot of I and I, because I know her from when I was a girl. She know my mother, and she was always an inspiration silently for me. When I saw that documentary, it was a stepping up of the inspiration from the 1930 with Their Majesty Ivine seated there with Her Majesty Ivine. And I listened to a Mama Baby I, who was my friend. Bongaraki was my friend. He was one of the ancient, the Bongaraki, the male, the patriarch. He was one of them that I and I could play with, and we could laugh with him. We could tap on him and run and laugh, and he would tell us stories and so on. So Bongaraki was. So when I saw Mama Baby I, when she rocked the eyes, is like she brought down thunder and she brought it up back. That's Mama Baby I find nice. She rocked the Nyabinghi with meaning, and you could feel it without even looking at her. And when I heard her, knowing the experience that she have had, and she expressed her understanding from an Empress Menen's perspective and her journey, and we look at the women in the Bible, we saw that there was a correlation. And so we identify more and more the divine within her as that sitting into the throne room of Ethiopia. Because to me, Ethiopia, Ethiopianism or Ethiopianness is a way of life. Because if it wasn't, then you'd find that someone would be sitting on the throne.
Yes.
They weren't found worthy to
Worthy.
sit there.
Yes.
And it's not about patriarchal or a matriarch or monarchy. It was about an divine space principle because the majesty said discipline of the mind is the basic ingredients of genuine morality and therefore of heretical strength. If it wasn't so, you would not have said it. So some of the ones who were aspiring to go sit there couldn't sit there because he knew that within the internal self there weren't any discipline and there weren't any principle. So he didn't want to desecrate the nation because he already brought forward glory and magnificent to I as a people. And if
And
Ethiopia had lost that, we don't know where
the,
I would have been
the
today.
throne is
So he
sealed. The throne
rose
is sealed.
her,
The throne seal, the
seal,
throne seal.
seal,
So it become I and I
seal.
heart now. It becomes in I and I heart.
Yes. So the chant said, the Nyabinghi chant says, a chosen few, I and I are the chosen few. The chant also said, no mother, no father, no sister, no brother, only Haile Selassie first will be there to welcome I and I. And so when you hear Her Majesty open her iris and said, throughout her years in exile, Empress Menen offered her tears for the liberation of her country because she is the lap in which he sits. She's the caretaker of him
The
that
feminine,
gives him strength
the
to
feminine,
go
the divine feminine,
execute and
the,
protect.
the divine feminine.
Exactly.
Aile,
So
aile.
that is where I saw her from a while, and more text came to validate my iris and listening to my sisters who have gone into deep studying of her. I was able for the first time to sit up with Rases Jazana, Kush, Dr.
Yes,
Waleta, and
yes,
the sisters. It was the first time I got an opportunity to sit up with them. And so I was able to consolidate it from a formal perspective that Her
yes.
Majesty is real and divine, and that it was a reason why their Majesty chose her, even though she had gone through a journey, just expressing our humanness that I and I go through challenge as human being, but I and I also have a celestial responsibility in this time that encapsulate the wholesomeness of I and I self that is called soul.
Hmm.
So it's there I saw her, and she said, by fighting the enemy through our prayers. Just imagine that.
Hmm.
And so we go forward to the chant. So long Rastafari calling, so long the enemy surround I and I, trying to devour I and I, and Rastafari calling. And the conquering lion in this time here is serious because it's the 93rd year. And if you go look into the 93rd Psalm, you will see the manifestation of the majesty that him alone is worthy because he brought back dignity not just to Africa, the continent of Africa, but to the whole world.
The whole world.
If you read the history and the prophecy, they linked. And the wars that are happening is not godness that is going on there. They're talking about who they are and where they come from. That doesn't have anything to do with the concept of God. Because a client of mine saying that him have a riddle, and him say the is a Caucasian client, and him fall in love with me because him say you look like a true Ethiopian, and he's 90 years old. And him say, why did they build the laundry mat next to the church? And I was saying this and saying that and saying this and saying that. Him say, because cleanliness is next to godliness. And I laughed. Yes. So what they doing there? So this war here, it doesn't have any cleanness in it. So it doesn't have any godness in it. There's no moral justification for it. And they all are wrong because they're building on a lie. Right? So I have to come forward to the humility of I vine, the only legitimate throne room. This is the crown of England. Queen Elizabeth is only one monarchy she ever bowed to. And I highly Selassie, the crown of Ethiopia. No other she not bow to. Despite the conflict in self, that was the only throne that monarch she ever bowed to. The history is there to tell. It's not Rastafari making it up. It's there. And this humble woman, warrior woman, because she dep on the battlefield same way, a cut and a clear, and I make sure her family is protected, because that is what I and I are here for as mothers. And so I continue to reckon with her. By fighting the enemy through our prayers, the Empress fought alongside the Ethiopian military corps. And this surely helped to ensure the victory. That victory was eventually gained on the war front. Imagine that. So she used our divine irits, coordinating with our experience and our knowledge, and ensuring that everything is in order. So when the lion trod out there, him know say the home safe with the youth them, because she use our wise mind to ensure that they are continued to be educated about the truth of the matter and to prepare them as they trod along. That is her.
Serious.
She also went on to say, in an effort to secure Ethiopian liberation and the survival of the empire, the Empress made a sacrifice by offering her crown. Who does that? Who does that? Who does that? She must have to be God in herself, which symbolized the highest rank in Ethiopia to the Church of the Nativity in Bethlehem. And them said that's where the Jesus Christ was born. So every aspect of their majesty and her majesty reflects the concept of God. And that is how I see her. And I have to go try I's best. It's not an easy task, because we are not perfect, but a lot of I know what perfection is, and I try to be on that part there, because it's more healthy. I feel more nicer to be on the side of going towards the perfection, even though we are so imperfect.
Yes. I want the
so Her Majesty is
There's a slight delay, family, so apologies for the slight delay, but I will continue your thought, and then I want to ask a question.
Yeah, so yeah, man, you hear she's reflected, and they talk about Her Majesty has been the mother of God, the Mary. She tried through different spaces, and the way in which she set a precedent, in relation to safeguarding the female, safeguarding the womb of life, by ensuring that she built a safe space in terms of their spirituality, where she built and she used her personal resources to build churches and school, because that's the foundation. The iritical and the material goes hand in hand. It's a very critical thing. But you also again have to recognize with the honesty, the humility, because their majesty say I was humble enough to even step aside from off of the throne because we don't want no more bloodshed. If you don't have the humility there, it's hard. When you sit down in a certain position and it's nice and you get your incentive and you get your big props and something them, and when you have to move on to make somebody else come in there because you're supposed to prepare the ones them, no one come out there. But their majesty, their divine, he stepped aside and allow them.
He
Kind of
took a
say,
militant stand for peace.
the stone that the builder refused shall become the head stone. And the shall rise from the basin and the dust and of the earth and become and confound. There's this thing that Bingi Ari always talks so eloquently, and confound the proud and prudent. That's what he said, right?
Yes.
So it's him
yes.
that. And so she was humble enough to take off the material to show her so she can go into to sackcloth for the sake of righteousness and for the sake of goodness and for the preservation and the legacy of Ethiopia. Because without Ethiopia, humanity would not be here. None of them wouldn't be here. Ethiopia is the savior of creation. And so I have to find a way to either stand it and to re-educate and nice people that it is true that Rastafari liberty is a natural liberty, is a wholesome liberty, is a family-oriented liberty. It's just that it has been intercepted by systematic oppression and destabilization and create thoughts in our minds because we become vulnerable. It's not I and I doing of I and I self. Is the perpetuators of injustices creeping and influence I and I in all different kind of way and make I and I lash out on our own brother and sister.
Serious.
So these things have to be identifiable. Yes, I go ahead.
No, I want, because I grew up in a 2-parent home. I has lived many years as a wife. In this modern time, we have a lot of babies, mothers, or a lot of single women with children. We don't have a lot of wives. I want I to speak from the vantage point of a wife to the single sister there. What are the characteristics that has sustained the eye as a wife? What are the things that you had to modify, to compromise? Because 2 people never agree. Just speak to the family from the perspective of a wife, because I think we have to train our young princesses about how to be wives, because we talk about, yes, being a mother, yes, getting married is nice, but getting married is only one day. You have to now live, being a wife is really a liberty and a way of being. So speak to that reality, because it's becoming increasingly rare. We have a lot of I who bring forth youth before we seek to get married, and I think we have to institute these institutions within I liberty, and I know there's moves to do that, but speak to I as a wife to the young sistren who are watching.
Well, that's a science that I don't even know where to start, but I have to start from the vantage point of my experience. Well, I learned from my mother. My mother is an amazing woman, strong like a lion, but she's a lioness, because Bingi Ari wasn't an easy lion to deal with because him have the whole world on him head. Of the whole world. And as I have expressed before, that Bingi Ari told I and I, say, once the community is okay, I and I going to be okay. And my mother and I saying, it has to be the other way around. How there if you make the community all right first and then I. But again, he was looking at it from that collective unification perspective. That is a village that grows the community, the family, and the children. And so he always have that mindset of the village growing. So when him gone out there to go do him a do, he must say the village supposed to Mama Yanzi, which she is supposed to be ensuring the maintenance of the family, But I think everyone's situation is unique, and I for me personally, I identify common grounds on which, for me, I'm a community activist, small or large portion, but I'm always engaged in community. Then when I from and I youth and I always engage in the Nyabinghi from a collective perspective, the Nyabinghi Youth Council, the Nyabinghi the Rastafari Youth Initiative, and I was always engaging in on a team level. And so the movement is very important to me. And so I look for common grounds such as those in an individual, identifying them to become someone that I feel like I can work. I know there are different, there will be differences, of course, because
Yes.
Rasila is not a easy. He's a military minded person, and I'll draw my fist and punch him down like that. But I'm not going to do that. And his words are like punching bags too. But at the same time, we identify common grounds among I and I. So it bring forward that love, that and citing for the liberation of Ionized people, not just Ionized personal family, but the African family, the Black family, the Rastafari family, the human family. And so sometimes it would be good if I can identify some of those wide scale common grounds on which ones can work. Because if you just about probably the physical self should look pretty and him look nice and handsome, and the sex part of it only, it may create problems in the future. And so as it is emphasized, education is essential. We say it is the marks and measure of civilized progress. And the
Yes.
Majesty have a speech that talks about it inspires loyalty and cooperation. So we have to educate ourselves. That is a principle of the Rastafari too. We usually take a little time to search the man and search the woman before we get involved into them in an intimate way. So that helps us to ground. Because if you look under some of the family, the old family, them live together long. In most cases in the Rastafari and the olden ancient, them stay together for long period of time.
Yes.
Today you hardly find that because we don't have that patience and we don't have that sense of diligence to want to see if there's any common ground, if there's any creative way that you share and the other share, that you can identify that if we're not able to work within the system in the place of in workplace, we can call on our creative abilities and to see how we can put the pieces together and kind of build something there. It brings a sense of joy, because um, even though Sila and I may have differences in one place, when we're able to build in the community and engage and project and activity with it, it brings a sense of love and a sense of respect for each other. And so when we're building relationship, the bass drum speak it, the Nyabinghi drum speak it, the Kete drum speaks it for me personally, and I'm connected with that. And so it helped to create a sense of healing, even though there are still challenges, and I still strategize in ways in which to deal with these challenges as they come along. But from a collective perspective, and a humanistic perspective, it would be best for I to check each other out first from a principle and a moral perspective before we get into certain deepness, because you want to
Yes.
know where our children will be going and what is the state of mind that I are creating when the sperm going into her and what she thinking and we know more or less what each other, so we know what is coming when it goes into the womb of perpetuity, you
So
know. So
crucial,
that
very
and
crucial, very
yes,
crucial.
so
So how long, Sister Queen Iffiya, how long? Because the sister said, boy, the man cute, you know. And me and him a talk on phone for 2 weeks, and you know, my heart a flutter. How long if you take, you know, how long would you recommend? Because I think we have to spell it out. We have to give some parameters because these young people are bombarded with technology, the images that they're seeing. So if we did hot in our time, you can imagine now, because we weren't even seeing nothing. We had to imagine things in our brain. You know what I mean? They are, you know, they have these devices, they're seeing it now from a young age, you know. So how long should a empress then wait? You know, she meet a young man, they're reasoning on the phone, things are happening nicely, you know. What should be the vetting process? You know, go deeper, because this is crucial, because we have too many families that are being started that there was no vision for that family. It was just a physical attraction that result in life being created, but there wasn't no planning that we're going to chart together, as you say. So how long, or what does that vetting process look like?
it's different for, I guess it's different for each. It's a serious thing, you know. It's very serious. It's different from person to person, and you know, dynamics to dynamics, environment to environment. But as I said, from a Rastafari perspective, you know, if one's really sight up their majesty and her majesty, there's some principle that has to be set in communication, certain perimeter. There's an order in everything in life. And so if you just want to have a date for a period of time, then that it's a date, and then you know, so probably y'all gonna go your separate ways, and maybe dynamics can build from there. But I think one should identify some common grounds, you know, out of principle, and to say these things I identify, and I think I can work with that, or I can work with. Who am I to say anything? I don't even know nothing. But it's true that we need to take a little bit of time, and it come forward to the humility, you know, that Her Majesty already had a relationship before Their Majesty, but he also identified some virtuousness within her. And so we thought that her ability, our experience, our virtuousness would complement his intention of, as a man treading in this statical responsibility, and to the preserve. She love our country. She love Ethiopia, and he loved Ethiopia. And so they saw that there were common ground, that they could support each other in ensuring this preservation and protection of legacy. So I think those are some important grounds, you know, whatever it is, the common ground, whether you like the same food, or you like gardening, or you like going to the movies, or you like something that has some common ground and meaning to you as individual, that you can identify among each other before you get too engaged. As I say, if it's just which is not really right, and you want to just go to the thing, and you go have a date and them kind of something there. Because I didn't know nothing about no go to no date nowhere. Is we identify the people them and we say these people supposed to be for the rest of our life, no matter what. You know them have different type of relationship in Ethiopia.
Yes.
Some of them is for 2 years, some of them is for between there, and some of them is for a long time, etc., etc. So it's the same thing. It's the Ethiopianness that we express it, you know.
Yes,
I
yes,
do
yes.
away with with. But everything is in process. There's a season for everything. You have the springtime and the summertime and the autumn time. So that's how the system operates, you know. You have the woman of our cycle a certain time per the month and so on, and she know say certain time she'd feel that kind of way, and she know say she can't do certain kind of things, or dress certain kind of way because that is happening, and if she do it otherwise, she know what the consequences may be. So all of these things have to be a part of the deciding factors before you get into no hope or something, and then you get yourself in a bubble, and then the sex part come and the thing now go on again, and things and stuff like that. And I don't know what I'm talking about.
No. It's beautiful. It's beautiful, and we don't talk enough about these topics. So we really have to stop being shy, because it's not serving us to be shy about these topics, because the young people have to figure things out for themselves, and they don't get to learn from our experience and our, you know, if I stub my toe, I don't want my son to stub his toe upon the same, piece of block.
Exactly.
So we have to
Yes.
talk about it, and I really give thanks. I'm going to read some of the comments here. We have Lion Pride says, how does the Empress feel about the role in Rastafari now? Does she think that women get their proper respect in the movement as far as playing certain roles in certain areas? So I'll let the eye answer that question.
Is that a question to me?
That's a question for the eye. Are women being respected now?
Okay. Yes. Well, as I said, the ignorance to some extent in earlier time, Rastafari woman is being recognized more for her ability and the role according to Her Majesty. I think the impulse are getting a little bit more understandable about how the female influence the moving forward of the movement, because I was the first female chair in the Nyabinghi administrative in Jamaica, and I was co-chair behind Ras Tafari, and I remember when I was coming out of Jamaica, and one of the last documents that was signed by the stamp and seal before the World of Confusion started was that document. It had the letterhead and the ancient them sign it and say that I'm to be received wherever I go with that dignity and integrity, and I'm to return, and so on. So it was a delightful hour in myself, because I patiently awaited for not myself necessarily, but for that transition to take place, and for that recognition and acknowledgement to take place. And I didn't even know that they were going to do that, because in my mind, I already said to myself, say, my position in this life is already ordained, and no one can take it from me. So I never really push into no space to go in a no position. But when they nominated, I didn't decline from the nomination. And when they voted me into there, and I was right there beside Ras Tafari, which I know that Ras Tafari was very capable in dealing with that position. And I only chair one meeting, and I felt joyful in doing it. And I already was trained into that, because I was already involved into community initiative in my community through SDC. We were going through retreat, we went through training, we know how to conduct and operate into a meeting space, So and was executive responsibility. So when I got into that position inside of the Nyabinghi administration, it was an honor for me, but at the same time, I was a bit experienced about certain things in terms of administering myself into that position. But yes, I think the Rastafari woman is in a space right now where none of them, the brethren, will contest or challenge them to say they are not to be in where they are today. unfortunately, it seemed like to some extent some of the women has become so worn out about the challenges that they have been encountering that it's almost seems as though some of I and I have gone to an extreme to some extent in what we want to do and how we want to, be seen inside of the community, that we see that Rastafari woman, because I think I and I are distinguished people and should be able to be identified easily as Rastafari woman. And there's a particular way in which, even our physical appearance, I think Rastafari woman are to be able to be identified and distinction among the others. And I notice sometimes some of us are gone over to an extreme. And I guess it's some of the young people who have gotten a little bit frustrated. And some of our older women too, I notice sometimes we find ourselves wearing less clothes, or we
Loosey
do some
goosey.
things to
You say
draw
it
some
get loosey
attention to us
goosey.
because eh?
You get loosey goosey
Loosey
is what
goosey,
that.
I guess that's a word. Yeah, but it's true. So, but I can't even fight with them about it because
Yes.
um sometimes even sometimes the man in their personal space, they're very rough and they don't know how to share love and to be affectionate. And I think probably some of the women might gone out there to experience it, and they might find someone who are not necessarily of Rastafari that can express love to them and show them what they think they might be missing out on. And so it can cause conflict within there, and sometimes the perspective changes, and sometimes there's a conflict between there. So the man and the woman have to understand, say they need to be more affectionate towards each other. They need to recognize each other's emotions and not to be so hard and fast on each other. Sometimes the Rastafari man, some of them, even though they are very loving people because they are the best lovers in the whole wide world, but they sometimes they don't know how to express it. They might they might grab you and say, "This is my love," and grab you, and those kind of rough sometimes, because of how they always have to be running in the mountains
Yes, the
and running
lion,
away from
lion.
Babylon, and Babylon, yeah, them the lion roaring. So she have to understand that they have gone through a lot of things, and kind of help to bring back some semblance of softness and tenderness and nurturingness to the relationship. But we have a long way to go. But I'm suggesting, and to our sister, in that I need to hold fast and just know that Her Majesty is most beautiful, and I Rastafari woman are beautiful, and just we don't have to go out there and to go do no whole unnecessary things to ourselves to get attention, because once we're true to ourselves, and whenever time we walk into it, wherever we walk into, I are a light. I can give an attest to that. I everywhere, anytime, everywhere, no matter where it is. So
Yeah,
that I
and
know that I have within I is DNA. So
people will say that if people going to think that I'm on the eye is not telling the truth, that you're a grandmother because you look like you could be in your early 30s, just coming again. But they don't realize it's just the light, the inner light that's shining, keep that youthfulness. Same thing with my wife. People think I'm robbing the cradle, because I don't know my wife is over 40 years old too. You know what I mean? And people look at me like,
yes,
oh,
yes,
you're a
yes.
young thing,
It's
Rasa.
Rastafari light, man. Rastafari light. Empress Men in Light.
Yes,
Beautiful.
Empress Men in Light. So give
but
thanks,
but
Lion
but
Pride.
but there I know
Yes,
there's a chant.
yes,
There's a chant, the Jasmine Kwazi, that says, and I love it because when my first three children, older children, father died from non-Hodgkin lymphoma, cancer, as a
yes.
result
Sorry
of
to
being
hear that.
into the military here. Yes.
Yes.
He told me that he was going to be having children until he was 150 years old. And I
Wow.
didn't disbelieve him, and I didn't say I believed him, but I just felt comfortable that he was wise enough to know what he was talking about. Like I told my children last year, when my daughter said, "What is your birthday?" and this and that, and I say, "That's a fraction of the 900 that I'm going to be physically living for." And she said, "Huh? What are you talking about, mother?" But It's true. Even Bingy Irie told us that for once you praise the living eye, once you eat right and you hold a Irie thoughts in you, you will live, you will live. But I've learned, that the physical is not necessarily physical, it's the works and the way in which you train the generation that comes and how it is perpetuated throughout. But there's a chant that says, and it's a chant from when we are youth, and it says, long time ago. Yeah, I know. So we talk through the Nyabinghi chant.
Yes,
We
yes,
send
yes.
messages through
Right
the
up, right
Nyabinghi
up,
chant.
right up,
And they
right
are
up,
very
right up.
serious too. Long time ago, Ayanaya year Rastafari chanting. Long, long time ago. Ayanaya year Rastafari chanting. Long, long time ago. Ayanaya year Rastafari chanting. Chanting, I shall live forever with Farai. I
Aye.
shall not die. I shall live forever. I shall not die. I shall live forever. So all that I reach within I myself and know that life is forever. And even though things will happen, and you know, in your iris, you know that it is possible that I and I can live a long while.
Yeah, man.
Yes,
To
I.
health and strength. And we're gone 2 hours already. So we're gonna wrap up. Any final sound, you just put it in the comments. We're gonna read through these comments. We don't touch Ralak, we don't touch whole heap of things, so we're gonna have to make this a part one. And they are going to have to come forward. Lion Pride says
Yes.
the Lion Pride said, and do she have any
Yes, I.
ideas about any economic plans in this time for Rastafari in this time? The item are doing the Black Star Liner. Talk about some of the works
Yes,
that
yes, yes. Yeah, man, there are initiatives that are taking place. Yes, yes, yes. Well, one of the thing is not anything new among us as a people. Is a intention of the Right Honorable Marcus Mosiah Garvey. It was always I and I vision to have the Black Star Line reenacted, and so I and I will be having what they call the reemergence of the Black Star Line, where I and I will be looking from a professional perspective, um, the establishment of a maritime shipping company. I
yeah,
and I, Pan African Rastafari, will be meeting in Panama this coming January 7th, where deliberation will be had, looking at the maritime feasibility study, which is there. And this is a document that is being worked on for a while now, for a couple of years. And so, and I will be looking at how to get this feasibility study document in hand. It shows the whole dynamics of how the routes and all those who knows about maritime business, how it operates, where the ships will be going, and probably how much ships I may need to start off with, etc., etc. We'll be having ones like Dr. Julius Garvey, who will be speaking on his understanding of how this establishment will be taking place. We'll also have Kwame Nkrumah daughter, who will be present as well. You have other professional also from the Crown Council of Haile Selassie. We'll have Prince Ermias and his entourage there as well, because these are symbolic images of the representation of the continuity of this mission of establishing INI's economic base. There are bits and pieces of economic initiative that are taking place in pockets of the Rastafari. and I just need to find a way to consolidate them and also to report on them, because we have
Yes.
so much issues and so much challenges, and it's from a systematic perspective. Sometimes we are not aware that things are happening. Once this maritime business is established, you know that it will create employment on varying level. We also have agricultural initiatives that are taking place in different quarters within the community. That too is another most viable environment where employment can be added, and economic can generate accordingly. So in terms of economic initiative, there are some. It's just that we're not able to get everyone yet. And I continue to dialogue to see how I can create a space of that nature to ensure that our people are engaged into economic generation. I know that a lot of ones are having it harder than some, but it happens right across the board. It's a societal thing, it's a systematic thing, a structural thing. And so I have to find ways and means how to address it, and to ensure I continue to educate I self in the field of interest, so I will be able to contribute to these development in a more effective and efficient way.
Definitely, and we will make sure we bring Rasila on this platform to talk about the rising of the Black Star Line and all of these things. So we'll have Mama Queen Iffiya's other half on the platform as well to talk about that. Lion Pride asked any experiences with Sister Bubbles or Mama Faraika. Probably too many to remember. But feel free to share. Feel free to share any quickly.
Yes, 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 yes. Yes, quickly. Well, Mama Bubbles is someone that we chant sweet, sweet night. We grew up with Mama Bubbles. Mama Bubbles, that out by the beach in Bull Bay in Jamaica, was the place that I saw the ancient Bongo Puro. I don't remember seeing him at any other Nyabinghi ground, but out there we always enjoy Isis out in Bull Bay, where Mama Bubbles and our children Vince and the
Ras
others
Maka.
were Bongo Sheffan and them out there. Yeah,
Yes,
Maka,
yes,
yeah. We call him Vince. Yes,
yes.
Maka, yes. So we know him from my little youth. So we know him from him little. And Mama Bubbles are sweet voice, and she and my mother always interact. She and my mother was good friends, you know. And Nana Faraika, she was always there too. And Mama Nana Faraka is one of my mother, so she would be able to tell more about my engagement on her. But we have a mother matriarchal princess. You know, I'm in my where I'm at now, Queen. Nana Faraka is Diana's mother, and Diana I have engaged her on different levels. We have communicated. Her son Gizzy and I were always, engaging on different levels, even though we have in different spaces right now. We have not seen each. But yeah, man, Mama Faraika, Mama Bubbles, Mama Aina, those are people that I grew up with. I not just speaking it. I was always there in
Yes.
right up in their space. They were our mothers as well. So we give thanks.
I hope this has encouraged you to write your story, because you have too much history of the Nyabinghi Queen Iffiya. We need to
Mm-hmm.
get that story. Empress Jeannie says, can
Man.
Rastafari liberty survive in America? Can a righteous Rastafari family succeed in the US? What do you
Well, I don't even know if I answer the one, but but one thing I know that wherever I trod with Rastafari, Here in North Carolina, I have purchased collectively a piece of property, a couple of acres of land, where I legally own this property. And I have erected a Nyabinghi tabernacle, beautiful erection of a Nyabinghi tabernacle, and I will be working on an opening in due time, just patience. And then I've cut a road on the land, and I have built a water well on the land where I can get water. And I have built now the sanitary spaces where we have male and female bathrooms. and I continue to build, and I illuminate Haile Selassie's, because it says the earth is the Lord and the fullness thereof, and the world that dwell there. And I founded it up on the seas and established it right across. So wherever I are, I maintain the principle accordingly. And so you can't be righteous in Jamaica and then you're not righteous over him there. So it happens right across the board for me, really. And so
Yes.
wherever I'm at, Nyabinghi and Rastafari always did. That is one of the things that distinction me, even in my workspace, that they know that I am who I am. I don't have to go around until I make certain things clear that I'm not able to do this, and respectfully, and so on. So, yeah, man, of course you can live Isla Full wherever you are. You create the
But that,
environment
that,
where you
that
are.
being said, repatriation is always a must. We have to emphasize that
Yes,
part.
indeed. Yes, indeed. Africa,
Because
Ethiopia, straight
yeah,
up, straight up, straight
this
up,
is the
straight up.
hour. This is the hour. We want to build, but we have to build repatriation
I
centers
see
in the world.
someone, I see someone, I see someone, I see someone that just says, "Oh yeah, I'm sending love. Look at me. If you can see me, I'm kissing you too."
So big up Ras says Jazanai Kush says love Queen
Yes,
Iffiya.
yes, yes.
And I want to big up Ras says she has joined the Lion Pride on Patreon, so
Yes,
she
yes.
supports the platform with our dollars. And we're gonna be doing some collaborations in the new year. I'm gonna have a big announcement. We're gonna be doing something with Lalabella Institute and the Lion Voice in the new year. So stay
It's
tuned.
perfect,
Yeah,
perfect, perfect,
if you
perfect,
have not
perfect.
subscribed to the platform, make sure you subscribe. There's 2,050 of us now who have become part of the Lion Pride, and we're growing every day. So give thanks to everyone who's supporting the platform to help us to grow. We want to get this to 1 million because Rastafari needs its own media. Sherry Valentine says, so powerful. Knowledge is power. Big up yourself, Sherry.
Big up my sister.
Um,
Big up my
yes,
sister. Yep.
Jog Light says Divine Mama. Yes, I. And Empress Genie says, give thanks for the question, Kwasi. We, Empress, would love to hear the next Empress waiting to start our tribe. So, Empress Genie is looking for a
Oh,
king,
try.
man.
It's
Yes,
already there.
yes, 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 yes. Francisco Tapla says, greeting from Chile. Give thanks for the contribution of Empress Iffiya. Powerful wise mind. Chile family checking in today.
I love my
Bless up.
Chilean people. Big up, no high spec, royal spaceman. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Love you
Yeah, man.
so much. Big up.
I tell you, Ja and Jais love, Irie and greetings to the eyes. Blessed love that Sister Marie, Nadine Pierre, who is
Blessed
in New
love.
York City, Brooklyn, checking in. Rothschild, okay, I'm going to read some of them Rothschild here because I know. Once again, if you do not reach Christ, Dada King, Emmanuel, Jesus Christos, Bobo Shanti, and then some emojis, then you are in quicksand.
Big up
Yes.
yourself. Big up yourself. I love it,
Yeah,
Rothschild.
man.
Big up
Trust,
yourself.
trust. And then him say it's going to be a cleansing and emoji. You
Of
can't
course,
beat Rothschild.
indeed.
When you come to emoji, you can't beat Rothschild, Cause in
Big him
thing
up.
fiery. Wipe out. Yes,
Big up yourself, my youth.
yes.
Love
None can pass.
Rastafari.
Christos, the angel will prove it. Yes, I. See him
Yes,
so.
I.
See him
Yes,
so.
I. Yes, I agree with the eye.
Yeah, man. If the judgment start, I and I, what will it be the end of those who hold not the highest of the deliverance of the Bible said? Yeah, man.
Yes, yes,
These
yes.
are prophecy time. These are prophecy time.
Yes,
It
yes,
a
yes.
go wipe out. I don't even see them emoji before Rothschild. You find a new part of the keyboard there.
Isis, Isis,
We give
Isis,
thanks.
give
We give
thanks.
thanks, Irie. Okay, what is the I opinion about polygamy? All right, we're gonna touch that part, then we have to seal up because I can't keep her all night. Um, hold on. Before you answer that, Jug Life say ancient Congo. We have Freeway Dread, Upful Reasoning. We have Sherry Valentine. What encouragement can you give I and I? Can you give us I and I move forward in the movement? Okay, we're gonna touch that. And Bongo Aino said, yes, we need repatriation centers truly. So I wonder, I just touch on the polygamy. I'm hearing this reasoning more and more amongst I and I. I am not against polygamy, but I tell people it's a rich man levity. If you're going go that way there, it's not a broke pocket thing where you know what I mean. So most of the most of the item don't
Yes, yes.
qualify for that polygamy, but there you know talk to us, Sister Ifia, quickly, and then we're gonna seal up. With 20 minutes
I
time.
I don't
Talk to us.
I don't even know the first thing to say about it. But from my understanding, I it's not an easy thing. But if ones are responsible enough, I'm not against it. But
Yes,
if ones are responsible enough, if ones look at each other and identify the common ground on which they feel like they can collaborate and work on together from that perspective, that's good. That's a part of our Africanness, family oriented Irish. It's not many of I and I are able to do that because there's a lot of emotions that are engaged into it, and also how you stabilize the economic part of it, the attention that each other desire. If there is them can identify common grounds on these very important issue. um, the health aspect of it to ensure that each one are healthy enough and the man is strong enough to provide the emotional and intimate needs of the woman, and however how much of them him have, and if he's strong enough to do the same thing like him do with the other one require, and all them kind of thing that we have to keep in
yeah, man,
consideration.
serious,
And so if
serious,
I and I are
serious.
able to come on common ground and those things, communication is very key in that as well, you know and
No,
yeah, that's my
serious.
personal perspective. I have not studied it. I know that there
Yes,
was a family when I was growing up, Bongo Jack and them. I admire them, and I thought that he did a great job in keeping the women together. Mama Lillian and Mama Joan, beautiful sister them. And I didn't know which one of them was the mother of the children, and the whole of the children them just come, and I didn't know who was the mother. And Bongo Jack and them stayed together until when Bongo Jack, physically trod out and thing. And the youth them seem like them still live together, and the Ayata them seem like them still live together, and so on. So if that is polygamy, then it probably can work. And I mean, never seen no money thing there, but whatever they use and kept themselves because they were really living off the land, and they didn't have to go out there. As in recent years, the youth them trod out out there,
yes.
but everything was off the land and things. So that's my perspective on polygamy. If ones can communicate and ones have common grounds that they can work with, and they know that they're not going to chop up each other, and one going to get jealous, say them getting more sex than the other one, and the man think that one is giving them more thing than the other one, then that's fine with me. But
Yeah,
I
man. And
like the monogamy. Say name,
yeah,
and the
monogamy.
majesty shows that we can do that too.
Yes, yes, yes.
So no mind
And for
what
the
they say. Yes.
yeah, for the brethren who are thinking that, like I said, in the modern time, make sure your money tall. Make sure each of the sisters them have them own house, because in this modern time, I don't know if it's going to work the how the item think it going to work. Is a wealthy man thing that. All right, final sound. Let the people know how they can link with the eye, and then also give the encouragement. The sister asks for what words of encouragement for the young sister them as they are chatting forward in this time. Um, I think 2024 is going to be a dreadful year. Global war has been unleashed. Inflation, the cost of living is rising.
Mm-hmm.
We're still scattered as a people. We're not together. It's happening, but we're not together yet. So it's a very difficult time for many of I and I are experiencing a lot of tribulation. What is the message that the I could share with the younger sister in them in this time?
Well, a very important thing I would emphasize is education. I know that I and I don't have I and I own. There are schools there are schools there among I and I, like the Lalibela Institute. I know there's another Rastafari institution in one of the island, and there are pockets of homeschooling that are taking place. But education is essential. Whatever field of interest that the eyes have, I think one should make an extra effort to enhance that and to become certified in that field. That's some of the first step. It will make you feel more joyful in yourself. It will make you feel more efficient, that you'll be able to contribute to a space, and try to find acquire land, or if you have to collaborate with someone to get some semblance of agriculture going, because agriculture is the savior of the nation. And as their majesty say, agriculture is a sacred task. I can give a test to that. However small or large it might have been, I have gone into the garden and it has fed me and my family, and it has maintained my health to a large extent. I have found the concept of God in the garden as well. So the education in whatever field, whether it's agriculture, science, technology, healthcare, administration, political science, whatever it is, make an extra effort. And if you don't have the resources, try and seek. There are resources there in the system around the place that you can probably garner, or you can tap into someone who have already gone through that and can provide some kind of linkage for you to ensure that you educate yourself in the field of interest. Try and see if you
Crucial.
can touch base with community members and to have some kind of social network. Just be careful of the words that we are using with each other, because sometimes we get out of context and our emotions in different spaces might be different and might mean different things. So we just have to be careful how we communicate with each other and try to see if we can ensure the protection of each other as we trot along. But education is the first step forward. And once we are able to identify that, it will enable us to help to generate some kind of income too, because
Yeah,
that's
man.
what I'm doing now here in this place here, that I'm utilizing here as a platform that help to enhance. It has the potential to do that as well, even though it's in a confusing state. And there's a concept that is said in Jamaica: pick sense out of nonsense. And I are doing that, picking the senses that are there out of the nonsense that is taking place. So education is the platform from which I and I should be emphasizing for 2024. Agriculture as a platform as well, to be generating space of income for I and to identify lands where I can work collectively, or if I have this resource that I can work individually and employ others, that would be great as well. Identify
Yes.
our spiritual self, our Ethiopianness. Haile Selassie, for me, it might sound a little bit sentimental for those who probably doesn't see it, but I love Haile Selassie and Empress Menen because they have sustained my life.
Yeah, man. Living example. Make yourself useful, family. Right now, we're building a community here on the Lion Voice Network. So join us in the Patreon. We're building a private community in the Patreon. We're gonna really use that as an inner circle for the network, so we can reason off of YouTube. Because if we burn a fire on YouTube take way off of here. So we have to careful even on the YouTube what we say, but on the
Big up
Patreon,
YouTube.
yeah, man, big up YouTube, same
Big
way.
up YouTube. It's providing
But
a space for I to
yeah,
communicate. Yeah.
yes, it is. But we want to make sure that we tap in. We have 24 of I in the line. If you have not subscribed, make sure that you subscribe. Make sure that you support the platform. We went 30 minutes over and we didn't touch whole heap of things. I've known this queen for over 20 years, I would believe. When did we meet, Queen Iffiya? Well, because I remember I coming to DC from Old York. There was a time there.
How old you
and
go
I know
again?
I was in college at that time. So me know say me feel like me know the
Well,
over 20 years.
I met the eye first through Bingy Irie, because as I said,
Okay.
Bingy Irie was
Okay.
always this person where in ever find
Yes.
you temple them was serious about highly Selassie and him always link up the Italimple. Them love Italimple too, you know?
Yes. Yes.
Because
Yes.
Bingy was really about food too and
And we were
certain things and
ITAL. We
so on
were
and so on.
ITAL.
And him love education too, and him love the youth them where him finds say so I met the eye through Mama Yanzi and Bingy Irie. And
Yes.
then we probably did go through DC at one point. And then I don't remember if I was there in Chase City when I and I had the Nyabinghi down there, and I and I drove from New York. Was there down there in Chase City? Down here, I think it's down here. The
No, I
first time I
didn't go.
ever been down here in North
I did.
Carolina.
I didn't go to that
In 2000, I
ISIS.
think it was, or somewhere around that time.
I didn't go to that ISIS, but I remember I was in college when I met the eye. I haven't been in college for over 20
Yes, yes,
years.
yes.
So I know say is a good eye when me know the eye. So
It's a while. Yeah, man, it's true. And I
yeah,
remember
man.
when they had to come to New York too, when Bingy had did there.
Yes, I.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
And
long,
it's
long I walk.
long Iowa, and we give
Yes.
thanks. I want to thank the eye for coming on the platform. This is part one, family. We have to bring her forward because there's a lot. We didn't touch Youth Initiative Council. We don't touch the Youth Council in the Bingy. We don't touch Ralak. We don't touch Panama Chad. We not touch Wolipa Chad. So we're gonna have to do part two. This is just part one. Thank the eye. Is there any way if ones want to reach out to the eye, how can ones reach out to the eye, Queen Iffiya?
Well, guess what? I am now. It's gonna go in effect on the 1st of January 2024. I am now the president-elect of the North Carolina Ras Tafari Union. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah.
So that and also as I saw Dr. Rasses Jazana online, and I will be participating in that very, very important eye treat, Rastafari Blue Fire eye treat that will be taking
Yes.
place in March in illuminating Ionized Ivine, Her Ivine Majesty, Empress Menen Asfor. So it's a space where I and I are continuing to educate I and ourselves about her, and for I and I to be able to share greater information and Ionize irids about her, you know. Lots of things have happened since March of this year, my first experience, and also leading up to this event here, this gathering I treat coming up in March of 2024. My telephone number is a private something they have.
Yeah,
I'm not
don't give
sure
it
what kind
out.
of
Don't give it
conversation
out.
I want to have, but my
I said, don't give out your phone number. But yeah, I said, don't give out your phone number. Maybe your email you could give out.
I can give my email. I can share my email. Should I say it?
Yeah, man, say it, and then ones who want to, because people will watch the replay.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So my email is it's Irifiya. It's IRIEFIYA@gmail.com. That's Irifiya. That's a part of my father name and a part of my name, and it's at gmail.com. Irifiya.
Beautiful, beautiful. So again, give thanks. Family, you see the caliber of people that we bring to the platform. The frontline soldiers have a platform, have a voice. We're not gonna stop. It's only gonna get better. We're only gonna increase. The goal is to build a full production studio on the continent of Africa. I start from my yard. because there's no excuse in this modern time for not going after your passion and your purpose. So, family, get active, get action. This is not a time we have to wake up Mount Zion. This is our time. This is our hour. The Armageddon is upon the earth, and this is our time to shine. The world is waiting. His Majesty set the black print. Why? Because the time has come for the lions to tell our own story. And this is the lion voice.
Yes, I. So long, Rastafari calling, so long. Give thanks and Isis.
I'm Nana Farika. The time has come for the lioness to tell her story from her viewpoint and tell the world who Queen Omega is. This is the lion's voice.
Well, lion voice, tell them that's the people first choice. Lion voice, make the lioness them feel nice. Lion voice, with the lion cubs we sacrifice. Lion voice, got to show the people them the life. Lion voice. The poor man working for the rich man. Rich man don't care about the poor, but look along the rich man own the poor man land. The poor say him can't take it no more, but look along the poor man working for the rich man. Rich man don't care about the poor, but look along the rich man own the poor man land. The poor say him can't take it no more. One day he started chanting, give me some land. Want get some land. Wanna build my own house, be my own man then. Give me some land. Want get some land. I wanna raise some little baby with a pretty black woman. Dirty Babylon, them want to stop the movement. Stop the family, them bring down unemployment. Them want the black woman become a single parent. No daddy can about if Babylon not pay your rent. Without the Vatican servants start the enslavement. Buckingham get rich off of this slave shipment. Uncle Sam no want no reparation argument. Them just provide opportunities for prison sentence. Who profits from my whole community's imprisonment? Mr. Big Man up at top, count him dollars and cents.
What do you have to